If you're the sort of person who doesn't mind the odd drop, then you may have heard on the grapevine about the growing number of winemakers setting up shop in the Somerset Valleys. It's a comfortable hour drive northwest of Brisbane to one of the better-known properties, Ocean View Estates.
Smell it, and we also taste it, just to make sure everything's going fine.
Well, Tom, I happen to know you've got better glasses than that for tasting.
Yes, we have. So how about we head into the cellar door and do some really nice wine tasting.
Lovely. Great idea.
I love to see people enjoying their wine, and especially our lovely Viognier, especially after wet years, and we get a beautiful drop in that's just been bottled like this one. So yeah, it's nice to see.
It's interesting to learn about the winemaking process from people like Thomas as head winemaker here at Ocean View Estates. He certainly knows a thing or two, and I don't know about you guys, the only thing that would top this is maybe enjoying it with a little food. Shall we?
I'm on the Tastes of Somerset Valley's food and wine experience that begins here on the slopes of Mount Mee. There are 4 cellar doors to visit along the way. This is the beginning of the trail, and what a lovely place to start, especially when we're sampling delights like the macadamia beer-battered prawns with tropical relish, matched with an appropriate wine, of course.
Yeah, we're pretty passionate about our wine, and there's nothing better you can do with it than match it with great food. Yeah, I'm a big believer in not getting too serious about it, but there are some principles that if you follow them, then you can get a great... the wine really enhances the food, and the food really enhances the wine. So particularly here with our Viognier, we've matched that with the calamari. If we had have matched it with the prawns with the tropical relish, it just wouldn't have worked. The fruit flavours in the prawns actually kill the fruit flavours in the wines.
From Ocean View, our wine tour follows the Diagula range to Woongaroo Estate, not too far from Kilcoy. After a lesson in wine making this morning, here we are at the foot of Mount Archer, getting a few tips from Phil Close.
Today we're going to do a tutored wine tasting and cheese matching. And we've chosen 5 cheese, 1 from Victoria, 1 from Tasmania, and 3 local cheese as well. And we've matched them with 5 of our wines.
Phil, what is it about cheese and wine that seems to be such a lovely marriage?
Cheese has always been a staple part of the diet, and they just tend to go so well together. It's very individual, but there are some basic rules that you can follow. So, for example, with this particular soft cheese, the Verdelho, which is a medium dry wine, it may go well for you, or perhaps you may prefer something sweeter with your soft cheeses.
The farming areas around Kilcoy are known to produce prize beef, but who says you can't have cattle grazing and grapes growing on the same property? Gary Pratton, or Snow as he prefers to be known, obviously believes you can.
I've got the steak happening. What I need now is to produce my own wine. Is that how Wynyard Wines began?
No. This is a cattle property. It's always been a cattle property. And the downturn in the price about 15 years ago, we had to diversify.
Are there any challenges having a winery and a cattle property side by side?
No, it works pretty well. Sue does most of the wine side of things, and I do most of the cattle.
There aren't too many cellar doors I can think of where you can take home your bottle of red and some fresh porterhouse steaks. And the tour thinks of everything. There's an esky back here to keep those guys safe and cold for me until we get back to Brisbane.
The Tastes of Somerset Valley's food and wine experience is a great way to explore this growing wine region. It costs $225 per person for a minimum of 4 people, and large group options are also available with all transport included. But if you prefer to drive yourself, it's just $75. That entitles you to lunch and tastings of 20 wines. And there's a 10% discount for the first 100 Great South East callers. That's valid until December. If you're looking for other ideas for exploring our part of the world, then refer to the Queensland Holidays website. And while you're online, Queensland Rail Travel and RACQ Online are also well worth a look.
Our last stop on the tour is Nirvana Estate. They actually had a fair bit of property damage here during the floods, but I'm glad to say it's looking fantastic and they're ready for visitors, if for no other reason than to try the award-winning 2007 Shiraz Cabernet. It's just wonderful to see so many people passionate about their winemaking in this region. And if you enjoy good food and wine and some spectacular country scenery, then I thoroughly recommend you pay them a visit. That's all we have time for. Thanks for your company. I do hope we see you next time in the Great Southeast.